I found out my wife was cheating on me not because of lipstick on a collar or a strange text on her phone. I found out because of silence. Not the normal kind. The other kind. The kind that creeps into a marriage when someone starts looking at you like a stranger. When their phone is always face down. When they suddenly start showering twice a day. When they smile at you like they're trying to remember your name. My wife's name is Emma. We had been married for 6 years. From the outside, we looked solid. Good apartment, decent jobs, annual vacations, dinner with friends, the usual successful couple routine. People always said we were lucky to have each other. I believed that too. Right up until I stopped ignoring the little things. Emma started working late more often. Then she became weirdly protective of her phone. Then she suddenly cared a lot more about her appearance, not in a new hobby way, but in a someone specific is going to notice way. I asked her once if everything was okay. She barely looked up from her screen. Yeah, she said. Just busy. So I left it alone. Because that's what people do when they trust the person they married. The first real crack came on a Saturday. Emma said she was going to brunch with a friend. Nothing unusual. But later that day, her phone pinged on the kitchen counter with a parking receipt notification. The address was for a hotel. Not a restaurant. Not a mall. A hotel. I didn't confront her immediately. I opened the shared cloud account we used for photos and notes and found something that made my stomach drop. A mirror selfie. Taken in a hotel bathroom. Emma was in the foreground, and behind her in the reflection was my best friend, Jason. I just sat there staring at the screen. Jason had been in my life for 12 years. He was at our wedding. He helped me move apartments. He called me brother. He called Emma sis. Apparently, that meant something very different to him than it did to me. I didn't say anything that night. I waited until Emma came home. She walked in looking relaxed, almost pleased with herself. Too pleased. How was brunch? I asked. Good, she said, kicking off her shoes. Nice to catch up. I held up my phone. Did you catch up at the hotel too? For the first time, I saw fear flash across her face. Then she recovered immediately. It's not what you think. I almost laughed. Really? Because it looks exactly like what I think. She sat down across from me and immediately went into defense mode. You don't understand how things have been lately. Things have been fine, I said. No, they haven't. You've been distant. You barely notice me. You're always working. I stared at her. So your solution was to sleep with my best friend? She flinched. Don't say it like that. How else should I say it? She started crying. Then got angry. Then cried again. But the one thing she never did was look genuinely sorry. Not for what she did. Only for being caught. I asked her how long it had been going on. Don't make this worse, she said. That was the answer, really. Not a number. Not a truth. Just an attempt to steer the conversation away from the ugly reality of it. The next day, I texted Jason one question. Are you sleeping with my wife? He ignored me for 3 hours, then called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail saying, "Man, don't do this over one mistake." One mistake. That's what he called it. I listened to that voicemail twice, because I couldn't believe the audacity. At that point I stopped asking questions and started collecting facts. Screenshots. Hotel confirmations. Calendar overlaps. Messages. Payment records. Enough to make the truth undeniable. Then I waited. Because I wanted to see how far they'd go before the lie collapsed on its own. Apparently, very far. A week later was our anniversary. Emma suggested dinner somewhere nice. I said yes. Jason showed up too. I had invited him. I told him I wanted to talk, like adults, and he fell for it immediately. People like that always do. They think if they can just keep a calm face long enough, they'll survive the consequences. Emma looked beautiful that night. Calm. Polished. Almost smug. She leaned toward me and asked, "Are we good?" I looked at her and said, "Actually, yes. We are." She smiled. Then dinner started. We made small talk for about 10 minutes. I let them relax. Let them believe the worst was over. Then I pulled a folder out of my jacket and set it on the table. Emma frowned. Jason frowned harder. "What's that?" she asked. "Your hotel receipts," I said. Jason's face went pale. Emma froze. I opened the folder and slid out a few printed pages. Screenshots. Photos. Messages. Dates. Times. I looked at Jason first. "You really thought I wouldn't notice?" He tried to laugh. "Dude, come on. Sit down," I said. He sat. Emma stared at the papers like if she didn't look at them, they might disappear. I said, "You told me you were my best friend. You told me you loved both of us like family. That was a nice touch." Jason swallowed. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I turned to him. "How exactly was it supposed to happen?" No one answered that. Emma reached for my hand. "Please, let's not do this here." I pulled away. "You already did this everywhere else." The truth hit them both at once. Not because they were sorry, but because they realized I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't begging. I wasn't crying. I was done. I told them I had already sent copies of everything to my lawyer. Emma's eyes widened. "You called a lawyer?" "Yes," I said. "And tomorrow I'm filing for divorce." Jason leaned back like the chair had suddenly gone unstable beneath him. "You're really going to blow up your life over this?" I looked at him for a long time. "You blew up my life. I'm just documenting it." That was the end of dinner. I stood up, paid the bill, and walked out. The next few weeks were a blur of paperwork, calls, and constant attempts from Emma to talk privately. At first she begged. Then she blamed stress. Then she blamed me. That part was almost impressive. She told me I had been emotionally unavailable and that if I had been a better husband, none of this would have happened. I remember reading that message and feeling nothing except exhaustion. That was the moment I realized she didn't understand betrayal at all. She thought cheating was a reaction to me. It wasn't. It was a choice she made when she decided my trust was easier to betray than her own impulses to control. Jason tried one final time to contact me. He said he never meant for it to go this far. I told him, "You kept going every time it went this far." He never replied. A few days later, his wife found out. That part was not my doing. She left him the same day she learned the truth. Apparently he had a talent for ruining two families at once. Emma moved out first. We sold the apartment 3 months later. At the divorce hearing, she acted like she was the one who had been abandoned. Like she was the wounded party. I sat there and listened while she described our marriage as complicated and said we both made mistakes. That was when I finally understood something important. People who cheat rarely see themselves as the villain. They see themselves as misunderstood, underappreciated, emotionally starved, or pushed too far. Anything except responsible. After the divorce, she sent me one last message. It said, "If you had loved me better, this wouldn't have happened." I didn't even feel angry reading it. Just finished. I blocked her number. I blocked Jason's too. I started over. Not dramatically. Not in a movie way. Just quietly. New apartment. New routines. New boundaries. No shared passwords. No fake forgiveness. No pretending that obvious disrespect is a rough patch. It took time, but I'm better now. Not because betrayal makes you stronger. It doesn't. It just teaches you very quickly who deserves access to your life and who doesn't. If someone cheats on you, then tells you that you're overreacting, what they really mean is they expected you to absorb their betrayal and stay useful. I'm glad I didn't. Because the moment I stopped trying to save a dead marriage, I got my life back.